Molweni, ni right? One thing about me, I love love. I love love in all its manifestations. I love self-love. I love platonic love. I love unconditional love that you're only supposed to get from your parents, your children, or your pets. I love how you feel loved when you're outside and the sun is just shining on you. When the sun's rays are just beating on your skin, it feels like someone or something out there loves you. I love that. I love love so much that I'm a hopeless romantic. When I see Mjolo content on the timeline, it brings a smile to my face. I love seeing people in love, even if it's a complete stranger. I love when my friends find that one person or two or three that makes them smile in the morning. That person that they have to hear from before they go to sleep. I love love when it comes through in my earphones, when it's written in literature, when I'm watching it on film. And this is embarrassing to admit, but I even love toxic love. Whoa. I don't want to experience it. I love watching it. I love seeing how two people can clearly be so unhealthy for each other, and yet they can't get enough of each other. I love watching it and not being a part of it. I love experiencing it from a distance. I love watching toxic relationships when it is portrayed in art, not in real life. Real life, there's an issue, there's a problem. And this is one of the reasons why I love Hard to Get so much. The first time I watched this movie, I wasn't sure why I loved it. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it is about Hard to Get that drew me to it. But now I know exactly what it is. I was invested in this relationship because there was nothing else to be invested in. I want to add that usually when I watch local hugging scenes, I feel so uncomfortable. It feels as though I'm watching it with a parent around, but there's no one there. Whenever I see local hugging scenes, all I can think is telling those characters to put their clothes back on. But in Hard to Get, it was different. I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen. So Hard to Get at its core is just a retelling of Bonnie and Clyde. And because of that, I'm going to call Uskix and TK Uboniwe and Caiaphas. So as legend goes, Uboniwe and Caiaphas were known for their small petty crimes. They liked robbing banks and small stores and rural gas stations. They were often described as a couple that is extremely loyal and willing to do anything for each other, even in the face of danger. In this instance, Boniwe and Caiaphas became synonymous with the phrase ride or die. Uboniwe and Caiaphas' relationship had no future. It was just vibes. It was eat, sleep, drink, and adrenaline. That was all it was. From the moment that they met up until we see them drive off into the sunset. When Boniwe and Caiaphas first get together, it's not clear what Boniwe's intentions were. But Caiaphas' intentions we knew from the start. From the moment we meet him, Caiaphas is his actions are so predictable that his friends and his boss start placing bets on what Caiaphas will be doing next with who. So when he meets Uboniwe and Uboniwe is a challenge to him, Uboniwe is different. She appears different than every other woman that has come into this tavern. Caiaphas is intrigued. Not only is he intrigued, he begins to fall in love with her. And you can pinpoint the exact moment when Caiaphas fell in love with Uboniwe. And that is when he rescued her. when he decides he is going to rescue her and he's going to save her and he's going to fight for her and he's going to protect her. Like all romantic relationships, Ubonye no Caiaphas had to have the talk where you have to discuss, what are we? Especially if that was not established from the start. In this case, Caiaphas is the one that brings up that conversation. He doesn't outright ask, what are we? But that's what his conversation is leading up to, and that's what he's implying with the conversation that they're having on the rooftop. Boniwe ends up saying, "Bana, ayo papa in place land or papa ne papa," basically saying we're just hugging. We are just hugging. That's all that is. Don't expect anything else. Caiaphas naturally is confused because he dropped everything that he knew for her his whole life. He had a stable job, he had a home, he had a warm bed to sleep on. Now he's waking up on concrete. He left behind everything that he knows for this woman to now and come and say to him, "Ubana lena ipapa ne papa." But when she said that, and every conversation they had about the relationship afterwards, I did not believe her. I did not believe that that's what she truly in her heart wanted. Yes, Umlomake is saying, "Ubana, this is just hugging." But the conversation and the words that she would use afterwards were not indications of this just being ipapa ne papa. It was obvious that Ubonyo had been hurt by men and that she was pushing Caiaphas away. I believe what Caiaphas did was foreign to her as well, for somebody to just drop everything for her. And she didn't know how to process those emotions. So her post-nut clarity, and every single time, her post-nut clarity came in the form of her saying something to the effect of, "We're not together." And then later on would see her cuddling him and hugging him. And I knew she wanted more, because usually when women have post-nut clarity, we say things like, "This was a mistake, it can never happen again.
I don't usually do this.
We say those things. She kept saying, "I'm not your wife, this is just hugging, this is papa ne papa." And then she would turn around and give him mixed signals by hugging him and cuddling him and caressing him either before or after the hugging session. I did wonder, though, what was it about Uboniwe that made Caiaphas want to ride and die for her? What was it about her that made him drop everything he knows, go to a foreign city, and then commit crimes for her, with her? What was it about her that inspired him to make the choices that he made? What was it about her that made him continue to want to protect her and to find ways to provide for her, even though they were illegal ways? But he still kept trying. He wanted to come across in her world, even though he was an amateur, he was a stranger to this world of crime. He still wanted to be the man and be the leader. Remember how I said I was invested in their relationship? That is the only reason why I was rooting for these career criminals. In real life, if there was a situation like, if they were reporting on something like Uboniwe and Caiaphas, I would want those two behind bars. I would want them caught, kimapantiti, let them face the full might of the law, send them to New Lock. But since it's a movie and it's not real life, I wanted to see them win. Even though every situation they were in, they only won or got out of it because of dumb luck. It's not because they were smart or strong or they could fight better. It was just pure dumb luck. I loved how the writers showed us what an amateur Caiaphas was, what an amateur TK was. He was foreign to this new world of crime. He dropped a gun. He couldn't maintain his bravado. It was really comical to watch him do that. And he was doing all those things he was doing to impress her. If we're being honest, He did everything that he did in an effort to impress her, in an effort to show her that he can take care of her, that he's man enough, that she can rest in her femininity. And speaking of femininity, the first and only time I thought that Uboniwe was smart. The writers gave us the impression that Uboniwe was a femme fatale. They gave us an impression that Uboniwe was a man-eater. She was a woman who was smart enough to know that in order to win in this world, sometimes you have to use your God-given talents to inspire people to do things for you or to let their guard down, whatever it is that you want. You do not need to work hard. You just need to work smart by relying on your God-given talents, and everything will be given to you. Uboniwe was the femme fatale that didn't only rely on her looks. She knew how to fight. She knew how to handle herself in the world that she was in. And she also knew that most men really only want one thing. And as long as you can make it seem like they're going to get it, you can get whatever you want. A femme fatale is a beautiful, mysterious, seductive woman who charms her lovers, often leading them into compromising, deadly traps. She's an archetype of art and literature. Her ability to enchant, entice, and hypnotize her victim with a spell was in earlier stories seen as verging on the supernatural. Hence, the femme fatale today is still described as having a power akin to an enchantress, seductress, a witch. Femme fatales are typically villainous, or at least morally ambiguous, and always associated with a sense of mystification and unease. A femme fatale tries to achieve her hidden purpose by using feminine wiles such as beauty, charm, or sexual allure. In many cases, her attitude towards sexuality is very nonchalant, intriguing, or frivolous. In many cases, she uses lies or coercion rather than charm. I was rooting for her up until the first fight scene because I felt like that came out of nowhere. They could have at least shown us Uboniwe's modus operandi. I wanted to see her in more situations where she used her mind, logic, to get what she wanted out of men. Instead, they gave us Uboniwe and Caiaphas, and not just Uboniwe by herself. I was slightly disappointed until that scene came on with Uboniwe no Kumete. When that came on, I was excited. I was excited because I thought, okay, finally we're going to get to see how Uboniwe operates without the assistance of Caiaphas. We're going to finally see how Uboniwe does things, how she's been able to survive all these years with nothing other than her looks. That's what I thought was going to happen. So she calls Ukumete over. He goes to their flat. He arrives at their flat and they jump straight to it. They start with the foreplay before the hugging, and Uboniwe pulls out a razor from ikausi, from her thigh highs. And I was sitting there in shock because I thought Uboniwe was smart. You are at home. You have home ground advantage. You can hide weapons anywhere. You could even drag him. You could have started off slow. Let's have some drinks. Let's loosen up, wind down. Drag him a bit. A razor. You want to potentially harm yourself in order to harm this man. Okay, buzumse razor, and then what? Because he did come with his bodyguards. What was going to happen? She pulls out a razor and he catches her. He catches her and they end up hugging, which I don't think was part of her plan. That just seemed dumb to me. I was disappointed. I was so disappointed. I expected more. I truly did expect more from Oboniwe. If this is how she's been operating this whole time, how on earth is she still alive? It was a dumb mistake from somebody that they have already established is smart and is quick on her feet and knows how to handle herself. That was a dumb mistake. I'm not in that world, and even I know what home ground advantage is. The gunfight was boring, the ending was lackluster, and as much as I love this movie, I don't care for the ending. Badombo babini, and their luck is gonna run out eventually. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.